Okay, so we're live. I don't know if Papa's still in here or not, but welcome everybody. So if you watch it on the replay, I have got my co-host Drew, my friend from across the world, and we have our special guest, which is Sherry from PWI. So we will start off with Drew. Um, Telling about herself, her channel and all, and then we will go to Sherry. Okay? Okay.
Okay, everybody, for the people that don't know me, my name is Drew. I have got a channel called Drew Abandoned Paranormal Vlog Scotland. Most of you are aware of me, but if you want to know about witchy stuff, paranormal, give us a check out. But yeah, my name's Drew.
Okay. Then we have our special guest Sherry, and she will tell us about her channel.
Hello guys, for anyone that hasn't met me, which I'm sure quite a few of you haven't, because I'm quite new to this channel. I'm Sherry from PWI, which is Paranormal World Investigators. My name has changed. When you see me come in the room, it says PWI Spiritual Investigators. I'm an investigator of the paranormal, everything from spiritual to paranormal to UFOs. I am what I like to call a natural witch with bits of paganism in it. And for my channel myself, I have spiritual abilities as well, but I like to call myself a spiritualist. I don't like to be given a brand of a name because I can do many things and I'm not as open in some things as well. So if you like the paranormal and you like all things strange and unknown and you like a girl that's a bit weird, I'm the lady for you.
That kind of falls in how pretty much how we all are. Welcome in,
Yeah.
Christina, Bill, Christine, Dobby Socks. Drew, can you see Christine?
Well, I can see Christine in the chat. Yeah, it's because it's somebody else's channel. I can see her. Welcome in, everybody. It's nice to see you all.
All righty. Well,
We have Christina Bell as well. Hi, Christina.
Yep. Yeah, and Dobby Socks.
Dobby Socks. Hi, sis. Hello. Welcome, everybody.
Yep.
Yeah, most of you do know Sherry. So a lot of you that don't know Sherry, Sherry and I have actually done 2 shows together. We've done the Witching Hour together. Then we've done the what was the last one called? I forget it now. Can't even remember the name of it. We did that one as
The
well.
last one was the Witching Hour, and then we've done the Lost Magics as well, didn't we?
The Lost Magic. So we are witchy sisters. We've knew each other for a few years. So anything witchy and spiritual we've really discussed. So it's interesting to get to involve mystical in it for a change, because it was always me and Sherry's dream, if you like, to have somebody else up with us. I know this is mystical show, but we always wanted somebody else up with us that was like-minded like us and different things. So it's amazing for us to actually be here. Fair enough, we're on Mystical's channel, but it's amazing for us to actually be here and share all our experiences as witches and paranormal investigators.
It is. And it's nice to meet somebody else like us. Me and like Drew said, we've always been searching for other people out there, not just ladies and men. We know there's witches and men out there. It's a passion. It's something we really love, and we really do like to share it with other people, and we want people to be able to do that with us as well. You know, that's what this community is about. Everyone being able to be one big happy family. And me and Drew have worked very hard on YouTube to keep people together, along with my lovely pups, which is Danny from Chasing Bones and Spectres. You know, we've been quite a prominent figure in the community. At the minute, Sherry's a little bit disunded and gone, but I am here still. But believe me, I'm never too far. I'm always watching.
Yeah, and that's just pretty much it. We're always trying to share our experiences with people, inviting them, you know, to talk about whatever it is that they want to talk about. Now, Sherry, I watched one of your premieres you had on, I believe, yesterday or the day before. I can't remember. I was very fascinated when you were actually out in the graveyard by yourself or cemetery, whichever one it was, by yourself.
Yeah, it was, yes. It's just the one that's up the road with me.
Yeah, and I was fascinated because I could see the spirits there. I could see it right on one of the headstones to my watching it to my right. There was a very clear shadow sitting on top of the tombstone and was facing across, from where you were standing. And I could hear the little chattering. Sometimes you can hear chattering. They're talking to themselves, but you really can't make out the words. I could hear all that going on. I could hear. I wasn't sure if it was you. I don't think it was you breathing because I couldn't hear you breathing through the whole thing. But at one point, right before you said somebody touched me or somebody touched me in the back or something, right before that, I could hear breathing so loud. It sounded like it was like in your ear, like it was that close.
There was literally some, like, because I was saying, like, I can feel somebody around me and I could feel them over my shoulder, so that it could have been them, because it's not very often you'll hear me breathe very loudly on my camera and that. And I normally always make sure that my devices are at areas where I'm not going to disturb what I'm catching.
Right.
So that's why normally I'll turn my phone round so you can see my face at times, so you can see that I'm not doing anything. So I think that's really important in the paranormal. But because I sense, see and feel, so it's really weird for me, because I'll go into a cemetery and I'm like, right, okay, there's one over there. And I was saying that there's somebody down there near that graveyard. Did you see that one over near that gravestone? Like I see them physically. But like, that's why I love the paranormal, because even though I see and feel things, when I have videos that show what I'm seeing and feeling, it's so much more rewarding, because it kind of clarifies what I'm saying, I'm seeing. Because anyone can sit there and go, oh, did you see that? I can see a man standing there. I can do this. I can see this. And people are not seeing this, are they? So when you've got something on the video, it's just like, what do you need to say?
And that's why I like my devices, because I could say I see something all day long, but if the devices aren't going off or something for them to actually see, then they don't really get the same feeling that you have. And like you say, you're in there by yourself. It's so much more scarier, because it's like, okay, if you're with other people, your team members, and you feel something, your team members might have your back, or they might be positioned. I'm not so worried about spirits as it is a live human being coming up behind me. So when you with your team,
this is what I say in my videos. You'll hear it quite a lot. I'm not scared of the spirits. I'm more scared of a human being that walks past the graveyard. That's why you'll see in my videos I put the cameras down to the floor when I see somebody going past the wall, because I don't want anyone to come in to me and see what I'm doing, because I am quite a nervous person if I don't know you. And I would be really worried, because I've had a lot of trouble on here with stalking and things. So I'm very, very weird about where I go, and I don't really like to say where I am. So I'm like, I'm okay with the spirits, guys. It's the people that I don't. You know what I mean? And everyone like laughs at me.
The beasties
got balls of steel to go out there doing that on your own. Like I've got I've been out there. There's really old videos on my channel where I'm out with my team, but. I really like being on my own, because there's no contamination to that video. There's no one to say, oh, that was one of your team members saying that, because they know it's only me there. And because I'm so in tune with spirit, and I've got so used to being around spirit, it doesn't scare me to go to a place where I might get a bit of a fast heart every now and again when they do something unexpectedly, or if I haven't been out for a while, I get a bit jumpy. But apart from that, I'm really at home with the spirit world. So for me, it doesn't bother. Like, you're worried, like people are worrying about me walking around the graveyard. I go walk in woods at night on my own. That's like, so.
Yeah.
And I will always make sure that people know where I'm going and give the location I'm going to. So if anything was to happen, they can phone the police. They know where I am, because I've said where I'm going. I always make sure that I'm covered that way. I've always got something like my crutch or something somewhere, or something that I can bomb someone with if I had to.
The spirit box.
Like spirit boxes.
K2 has multiple purposes.
And that's what I mean, like, with the equipment. That's because I do get what Mystical's saying there about the equipment. Like, it's amazing to have abilities. It's amazing to be able to see things, but it is only us seeing that. Not everybody else is able to see that. And that's why it's really good to have the equipment. And I have people come up to going, why do you need to use equipment if you can see them? Well, how are you going to see them if I'm sitting? When I'm seeing them, you don't see them.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I don't sense them, so it's good for me to see that, because then if you are saying that you do see it, then watching your video, I can say, well, look, Sherry's feeling it, and then the spirit box is saying whatever.
It's verification, isn't it?
Validates it.
It does validate it, and I think it's really good to use the equipment and stuff. It doesn't matter if you've got abilities or not. Equipment is really important because there are a lot of people that don't see the way
and
that
it gives the spirits some way to communicate. I mean, because the spirits are not all.
Like my guys feel like they're like celebrities when they're on YouTube, and that's seriously. Some of them come out proper chatting away, and I love this YouTube, Facebook. They know.
Some of them swear as well.
They swear. I've had some very sexual stuff said to me on before. I've been told to bend over, nice bum, and going on about my neck, let me bite your neck, all sorts of weird things.
See, I'm old. Nobody does that to me. No spirits does that to me.
It's because of our really old cemeteries.
They're like, where's all the young chickadees at?
Yeah, but sometimes it's really embarrassing because you're sitting there and you're trying to be serious on the show, and then you get someone, God, look at her bum, and you're like, oh my gosh. Like spirits behave.
Yeah, and see, I like doing it at nighttime too. Only because, and people will ask me, would you see them in the day? Actually, I see them more in the day than I do at night.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people say that.
Yeah, but the difference is the devices can be seen better at night for the audience.
Yeah.
You know, you can set up 10 different things in the day and they can be going off and nobody can see them because of the sun. But in the nighttime, you can see them, and then you're like, oh shoot, there's something over there, or there's something over there, you know, and then you can pinpoint it real easy so that everybody else can also enjoy that thrill right along with you. If I get scared, I want everybody else to get scared.
Exactly. And that's the same with me. I see more spirit through like the daytime and stuff. And I have done a few investigations in the daytime, but they've only been really short ones, what maybe like a spirit box and maybe a flashing ball and holding it up or something like that, you know, like just things like that. But I prefer to investigate at night as well. Because like you say,
spirits would be more during the day. Because most people's routine's daytime, isn't it?
You know, it's their time to have their moment. So I think spirits really like being out at night time because they ain't really worried about if they're scaring anyone. And they know the ones that are turning up to the graveyards are searching for them, so they love that. I'll tell you, they know when you're looking for them. They're like, straight on you.
Just like you sense their energy, they'll sense yours.
My guys, if I walk past that graveyard, because I haven't been there for a while or anything, but if I go past that church, I can hear them physically going, oi, you're and I'm like, oh my God, I'll come see you another day, guys. Like, so they've got used to who I am, because I've been going there for years now. So I always try to avoid going past that church when I'm not going in there, because I will get shouted at by them. They'll be like, Sherry! And it's like, oh my God, I don't want to ignore you, but I'm really like,
people think I'm crazy enough.
And then especially when I have actually done it physically, because I don't think about it, because I talk to them naturally like I'm talking to you guys.
Right.
And I've done it where people have been walking on the other side of the road, and I've turned round to the church and I've been, I'll come and see you another day. And then and I'm like, oh my God, like, I don't believe I've just done that.
Welcome in, everybody. There's Hanging with Mr. J in. Let's see, Michelle is in. And then all the others that I mentioned earlier. Panka is back in. So welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody. So, and see, that's a problem that I have, too, when I'm out doing investigations, is if I see like a spirit, sometimes I think it's a regular person there because I see full apparitions also. And I've actually been in places that I've talked to them and it be a spirit and I not know it until they disappeared in front of me, you know, where I've actually, been working and said, I'll be with you in a minute. And then the apparition, she just disappears in front of me. So a lot of times too, when I'm out, and if I'm like, and I like, oh shit, and I'm like thinking, is that a spirit? Is that a person? Is that a spirit? Is that a person? And then my adrenaline gets going.
It does make you feel a little bit on edge when you do that, because like, especially like, I'm not bothered. I'll speak to them all day long and I'm not bothered. But when you're in a public place where there's loads of people and stuff like that, I will say to you, like, nobody dislikes me around here, but because they know that I'm different, and because they've seen me do weird things, they will cross the road to come away from me, because I think they think I'm a bit crazy or something. And one, because I'm a witch and I walk around wearing all this, they're like kind of weird things. But I'm not a weird person. I'm not. It's just naturally me. It's who I am. I've been like that since I was a kid. It's not my fault.
It's because
I'm not going to be ashamed for it. Like, I'm different. I don't care.
And it's because they are not familiar with the word witch. They're not familiar with the healing part, the investigation part, the helping part. They're not familiar with that. All they know, all they see in their head is witches throwing frogs and toads and everything in. Well, frog is a toad, but throwing it into a pot. That's all they're seeing in their head.
We curse crops and we put all sorts of things on. We don't. And
fly on broomsticks.
Some people have opened up to me here now when they're like starting to get used to the fact that I'm a witch now, but some people are still a bit weird. And like, I have had a couple of conversations with people when they've stopped and they've like, so what does it mean like when you're a witch and stuff? And I've explained like, we're spiritual people. We love like nature. We love animals. We love people. We're about putting goodness and stuff out there. When we're doing our spells and that, it's not us cursing you. We're trying to take away the problems that are cursing you in life. You know what I mean? That's what we're trying to do. We're putting goodness out there.
To them.
Things such as the witch trials and things like that, where it's all been really made to look really bad on witches. People really fear us, and it's a horrible thing, because we're not nasty people and we're really down to earth people.
Hollywood as well.
We just want to help.
Yeah,
and that is what we're about.
Industry.
Welcome in,
I don't think it helps that we wear black as well. That probably don't help. But black is a really absorbing colour for a witch, and it really helps us to get. That's why we wear it.
Guys.
I mostly wear black, purple, or red.
Yeah,
the only reason I have this on is because I've been wearing it for the last few times we have somebody on live, because it's so cold in this room. It is unreal. So I try to put this on underneath whatever. Actually, I have 3 shirts on. So because
normally I'm cold and I have to have loads of coats on. Like even in the summer, I walk around with coats. I really get affected by the other side a lot, and I'm always cold. Like people have come up to me and my hands are like ice. They're like, "How can you be that cold?" I'm like, "I've always been like that." It's really weird, and that's why like I've got the nickname Vampire, because I've got very cold skin. It looks like I'm very pale on here, but I'm not pale. But I do have a thing about vampires. So I really find things like that really fascinating. I like anything on the other side.
Yeah, anything crazy, mystical.
Yeah. I just get asked if I'm mad a lot because I get red. Well, if I'm mad, I get red. But I'm just naturally red too if I'm outside. Not so much in the sun, or if I talk a lot, I get red. I mean, I just get red. And,
I've got like an olive skin, so I'm used to the sun, and I do like the sun and stuff. So I'd be really bad as a vampire because I would melt. Okay,
turn into dust.
I do like the sun, and I do like the nighttime. I'm a bit of both, but you will find that I'm awake more at night, and I'm asleep in the daytime. I'm never about in the daytime, so I do get why I've got that nickname, that like she's the vampire girl. And like they said, they're really beautiful and stuff like that. You just got that look, and I'm like, you wouldn't want me to fly through your window then?
No, well, that's it. Chap at night. We were just saying that today. We were waiting patiently in the sun coming back, weren't we? Mystical, because it energizes us.
It makes you feel good, doesn't it? And it's a time when nature's back at its fullest, and you can get all of the benefits of her, and you feel really good. And at the minute, we've just got this really horrible cold weather, and it's just like, oh my God.
Yeah, every day's the same.
I know. I've been meaning to take a walk out and just forage for what I need. I need to get me some. A lot of people call it pine tar or pine resin or pine sap. Just depends on what they call it. It's pretty much the same thing. So I've been needing to go out and look for some, but it's just been too cold.
That is
my God.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I'm like, obviously I've got a lot of things that have been going on, but I think the reason I'm miserable as well, because like I have like a physical health illness that is not very good in the cold weather. So I can't go out
Yeah,
and do my investigations. I can't do anything I want that makes me feel good. So I think
yeah.
that's a lot of it as well. It's just everything's all on top of me because I
That's
have
it. When you're
needed
not getting to do what you
like
want, you do feel down.
yeah, I've wanted to escape because I'm dealing with a lot of stuff at the minute. You know what I mean? I've wanted to be able to
Yeah,
escape and go and sit in nature for an hour or so. It really makes me feel a lot better when I do. But
yeah.
am I sitting in pouring rain, getting wet, but like just you know what I mean? Like it's just like just for one day, can it
I
just
know,
be?
Yeah,
I
You know?
know. It's
yeah,
just raining.
yeah.
The
I
other
don't
day when
mind if
I went
it's
out, it was good. It was good until the sun went away. Then as soon as the sun went away, it was really freezing cold. So it's still
I
there.
love the rain. I do love the rain, and it's very very
relaxing.
relaxing to me.
Refreshing, isn't it?
Really, really
Hmm.
make you stand out in it and stuff. But when you're in a
Yeah.
very low place and stuff, it really does get to you. 'Cause you
You
know what I mean?
just feel as if that's the last straw when you're rained on or
Mhm.
something. You
And my
think,
favourite
right.
colour is red, by the way. I remember you saying you like red. That's my favourite colour. I've got like red lipstick, red nail varnish, things like that's definitely my favourite. And then it's
Yeah, I
black.
have the red on.
Yeah,
Yours is
I love
blue.
red.
Yeah,
Blue
I
and
don't mind.
purple and
I don't
black.
mind. Yeah, I don't mind being out in the wetness only if it's like extremely hot, because then
Right.
it cools you off.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
if it's windy or cold,
mm,
forget the rain. I don't want nothing to do with the rain unless I'm gonna put a jar out and catch water or something.
Yeah.
yeah. That's the only really time I'll go out in it as well, because obviously my
Yeah.
illness gets kicked off by that sort of weather as well. So, but yeah, in
Yeah,
the
Under the
summer
blue.
it's really hot, and then suddenly you get a little shower. Oh, it's heaven. It
yeah,
is heaven,
yeah,
especially when you because I already burn up anyway. Because I've got an elemental protector. Her name's Aurora, but we call her Aura because it's so much easier. And she's hot all the time, obviously, because she's a fire elemental. So because she's very connected to me, a lot of the time I might have stone cold hands, but I'm burning up because of the
Mm.
effect. You know, like we have a really strong bond since birth. Like
yeah,
she's energy that was given to me by a couple of my
yeah.
mum's witch friends for
Huh.
protection.
Yeah.
So she
Good,
comes to me.
good.
So
Yeah, the
And we
Dobby
have
socks.
werewolves.
say that again, sis.
And we have werewolf spirits that
We do, yeah.
kind of came to us from when we started talking to Uncle Danny. Mine's is Timber, and yours is Red Wolf, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Red wolf, yeah. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
also have another wolf that is called Siberia, and she's a female. She's got very blue eyes. But I've had her for a very long time. But Red Wolf is my main wolf, and he's my spirituality in my shamanism because I'm a
Hmm.
practicing shaman. I do not know anywhere near as much as my pups or anyone that I'm still learning, but we've got me and sis down here. We've got quite a lot of elements to us. We like our shamanism side. We
Yeah.
like our witch side. We like to be different, and
The thing is, you
yeah,
don't need
nature.
to label yourself, I don't think. I think that everybody comes from different places. We all have a different lifestyle, so I
Yeah,
don't see why we label ourselves because everything is different. So, I mean, I'm not a kitchen witch and I'm not a garden witch and I'm not whatever, and I'm just a wee bit of everything, really. So I
that's
don't
yeah.
feel the need
yeah,
to label.
eclectic. You're an
Yeah,
eclectic.
An eclectic witch is what we are,
Yeah,
because that's what I am as well. But I
yeah,
don't like to label myself. I don't like to be labelled as a medium. I don't like to be labelled as a physic. I don't like to be labelled as a full pagan witch because I'm not. I just have elements of
right.
everything that I believe in. So that's why I say I'm a spiritualist and I'm just a witch. A witch is a
Yeah.
witch. It don't matter what
Because
you're into.
it's a lifestyle. It's
You know,
just your
like
way of life. Hmm.
it's like the black and white that they bring into witchcraft as well. That the black witches are supposed to be bad and the white witches are supposed to be good. That's just a load of cotton ball as well. I'm sorry. Like
yeah,
like into me, when we go white and black, which I just believe that some witches see through the light side and some witches see through the dark screen. It doesn't mean that they're
Yeah.
negative. It just means
Hmm.
that they see things in a different way. And
right.
Yeah.
magic is magic. It's not good and it's not bad. It's
Hmm.
magic. It's part
Hmm.
of life. You know what I mean? So we're just witches.
Someone,
That's it.
someone that is so scared of witchery does the exact same thing, only they're not labeling it they're doing it, they're doing the ritual, they just don't see it any other way than just
And
being
this is
whatever
what I
they're
say,
doing.
because a
Yeah.
lot the people that I've noticed that are really critical to us are people that like that are Christian or something like that,
Yeah.
Catholic, anything like that. And I said, hang on a minute, like you come in and you say about what we're doing, but you're doing no different. And they're like, what do you mean? I said, when you stand in your church and you pick that book up and you light that candle and you speak those words, I said, you're forming a ritual, a spell. You're
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
something unseen. That is all we're
Yeah.
doing. The only difference is we use different tools to connect more to them. That is
Yeah.
the only difference. We're not doing anything bad. You're doing no different to us.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay?
They do
You're in
their
a place.
prayers. They do their
Yeah.
prayers in
Your
church,
prayers
and
are
we do
spells.
our prayers.
Well,
Your
that's
prayers
it,
are spells.
isn't it?
Our spells are prayers. Do you know what I mean? That's what it is.
Mhm.
Spells are prayers. They're things we're trying to bring to light. That is what it is.
All
But we've
worship.
really
Uh-huh.
lost.
Yeah.
And I do agree with what was in the room a minute ago. Like everybody does have abilities. It's just that we've all got different levels that we're opened at. We've all got some
Hmm.
sort of spirituality in us. We've got the capability to know things like and
Hmm.
stuff. It's just that some people need to open themselves more and become acceptance of the other side to be able to feel it more. You know what I mean? So,
Hmm.
and this is what I
Yeah.
always say to everyone. Like people have come up to me later on. Do we all have gifts? Yes, we all come from the same creators. We all come from the same places. We're all gifted. It's just some
Mhm.
of us we're consumed and we're stopped by things we have in life. Life stops us
Yeah.
from being who we truly are spiritually.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
some
Well,
of us have the ability to see past that and to
yes.
see where the true world is, where some of us haven't. I said,
Yeah.
but that's why it's good to be around people that are spiritual and things like that, because it helps you to open up more. And we all use our abilities every day of our life. You've got to have been sat there on your chair, and your phone's going to cut phone, and your
Yeah.
Hmm.
phone's going to phone. You're using your sixth sense. You are
Hmm.
able to do that. It's just you don't see that as an ability. That's something that to you.
Especially a lot as it's mothers, we have that instinct where you know
Yeah.
something's wrong, or
Or you're
you
doing
know
something,
something.
something's wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you get that feeling, and you're like, something's happened.
Yeah.
Something's not.
Oh, hello,
Something's
Phoenix.
more.
Hmm.
Welcome, Phoenix.
Hey,
Yeah.
darling. Yeah.
So, because if you think about it, every person on this planet that is born, they're born with a natural ability and gift to do things. What
They are.
happens is when they start saying, "Mom, I see this," or "Mom, I see that," or "I feel this," or "I feel that," oh, be quiet. There's nothing there. There's no
Yeah.
Yeah.
monster over
Yeah.
there.
And
Then
this is
they shut them up. They clamp them down, and they shut it
that's
off.
what I'm saying.
And that person the whole time is thinking, well, maybe I'm seeing things, instead of saying, explain to me what you see, explain to me
Imaginary
what you.
friends, for
Yeah,
instance, is the
yeah,
one
Yeah.
thing that really annoys me. Oh, it's just an imaginary friend. How do you know that's an
yeah.
imaginary friend? How do you know somebody's not there talking to them? That's
That's
why
I
right.
don't think there is
like
such a
when
thing as
I've
an
been around
imaginary
kids,
friend.
like I've got friends that are spiritual that have got kids and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And they're very open to them. And I think that's really important to be open to them. You don't want to shut a
Yeah.
child's mind to what really is out there, because
Yeah.
Hmm.
that's when problems start to happen. Like, for instance, like my mum was very spiritual, but because she had bad experiences, she never let on to that with us. So whenever
Yeah.
anything was said that we'd experienced, she'd say, "Oh no, it's not that. It's not like it's just in your head and stuff." But
Yeah.
luckily for me, I knew it wasn't because I'd seen it from a very young age. So, but
Hmm.
it is true what you're saying. Like, if you're told you're not seeing what you're seeing, it does shut your mind down. And it's no
Yeah.
different with the things we've got today in this world.
Yeah.
Technology, computers, all of this has taken that lack of
Hmm.
spirituality, that lack
Hmm.
of being able to see other things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's clouding what we really are.
If
Yeah.
they see their child has a good gift on drawing or painting, then the parent wants to improve that in them so they can grow. But yet, when
Yeah.
it comes to the spiritual side, they don't want them to improve in
Yeah.
that because they themselves was shut down as kids from
Yeah.
their parents shutting them down
We don't
back then,
understand it.
and
Mhm.
it just rotates from there.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people as well, like these days, they are very money driven and stuff,
Hmm.
and they don't
Hmm.
want them to go into directions where they don't think anything's going to happen. But the thing is,
Yeah.
you've got these very talented people that do art and all this, but then you could have somebody that could be a really good investigator or a really good medium and really
Yeah.
do well
Be a
out.
good
Of it. There is
healer or
limits on
something.
TV that
Mhm.
show it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a child should be able to choose who it wants to be. That's what I believe. They should be able to be what they want to be and talk to what they want to be. Like I get that parents get scared when they say these things. I'm seeing a man in my room. You don't want to shut that off on them. Just say, okay, if you're seeing the man, what talk to them. Just talk to
And
them. Like,
call the
That's right.
spirit out if it's somebody that's an investigator.
like,
Tell the spirit to come out and ask why, and show the kid you doing it.
you don't want to shut them down. Go, no, you're not seeing that. No. Like, just speak to them because sometimes these sort of experiences can be really traumatic if you've got no one to talk to.
I know.
I remember when I used to get spirits come to me, I used to be so scared when I was young because I couldn't open up to anyone and say how I was feeling and what I was seeing and that. So it's really important that children are listened to. Like,
Put your head under a blanket all night.
Imaginary friend, okay, guys. We've all got things that not everybody quite understands.
Yeah.
Are very open to the other side. They're very
that's exactly right.
Where they see a lot of things, you know what I mean? So don't be so quick to think that,
Yeah. Now I'm waiting to see a skinwalker. One day I know I'm gonna see a skinwalker. Sure as anything, I know I'm gonna see it. I ain't seen a skinwalker yet.
They are around.
Yeah. Now see, because I've been told that I'm a medium. I've been told I'm a psychic. I've been told that I'm a shaman. I've been told that I'm a healer. And my answer is always the same. I'm a spiritual being. That's how I see myself, as being spiritual. I'm not going to give all of that to me. I just say I'm spiritual. I'm me, and I do me. That's
you do what you have to do.
That's
I can't be open.
much
If
it.
people say to me, "Are you a witch?" I'll be open. I'm not scared. I'm not ashamed. I am a witch, but I don't like to class. I like to be classed as just being a spiritualist. I'm open to everything.
Yeah.
And
the best way to explain it as well.
Spiritualist, and they're like, what is a spiritualist? A spiritualist is somebody that sees things from all avenues and believes in all things and believes all things are possible. A spiritualist is somebody that's spiritual and very connected to all things of this world, universe, you know what I mean? So I'm spiritualist. I'm not like, because it really irritates me when I get people that go around and go, oh, we have Sherry Brett on today and she's a medium. Straight away I'll jump in and go, I'm not a medium. Because I don't like to be labelled, because with a lot of people, when they hear the word medium, they'll jump on you because they expect you can hear everything, because that's what a real medium is. A medium is somebody that can hear everything that a spirit says, see everything that a spirit says. I don't. I can hear them, but only if they want me to.
See, that's what I say.
And a medium is inside a box and is only for one thing. I'm not in a box. I'm out.
And that's what I say. I see them if they want me to see them. And a whole lot of times, if I go in, if I'm around an area that is extremely haunted, and I see a lot of evil, I'm not talking about like an earthbound spirit that's just being mean or a trickster. I'm talking about downright evil that wants to hurt you, wants to manipulate you, wants to make you, do things. Those I will have a tendency to look away, only because when I make eye contact with them, they're like, oh, she can see me. Let's see what else I can do. And then from there it snowballs. So I always tell my husband, I'm like, there's one over here, and so-and-so, it's looking at us. Just keep doing what you're doing, because we've been working in the backyard before, and since I've got a prayer hedge around my whole property, they can't come on. We'll see a spirit staring at us. Big, huge eyes staring at us. And I'll tell my husband, just keep doing what you're doing. And I'll tell him where it's at. And he used to never be able really to see stuff like that. But he knows now when I tell him something, he's starting to pick it up himself now. He's been around me so long that he's starting to see, he's starting to see and pick it up. And he's like, well, what do I do? And I said, just keep doing what you're doing. And they'll eventually that particular one will just eventually leave you alone. It doesn't mean there's not another one following behind. But if it's a spirit that's a good spirit that maybe wants to communicate, that's a whole different, that's a whole different thing there. you
Yeah,
know.
you do have to be careful with the negative energies. That's why when I do my investigations, I'll always say that I invite the good spirits. I do not invite the negative energies. I always say about them staying at the location that I've come from. You're not to follow me home. You're not to do this. You're not to do that. You do have to
Right.
keep yourself safe. And I
Right.
always carry a lot of like protection things on me as well. I'm really big on protection. I think it's really
Yeah.
important at home and out of home. And
Yeah.
like like you're saying with like negative energy and that, like the more that you take notice of them, the more that you know that they're there, the more you're feeding them. And
Right.
another thing is never show them fear. The minute you start
Right.
showing them
Yeah.
fear, they know they've got control of you. You know what I mean? So
That's
it's
right.
really important to do that. And
That's right.
I've physically been attacked by a demonic spirit. I had upside down crosses on my neck. My skin from my neck here all the way around looked like a collar that a priest would have, but it was my flesh. It ripped all my skin off my neck. Literally, I've got like little scars on my neck now from where I had it all, and I was really badly
Oh,
affected. I actually had to get rushed into hospital because I nearly died from blood poisoning. That's from an energy that done that in a house that I went to save a family because the little girl was being affected. I know that they're very real and I know what they're capable of. And the thing is, I'm not scared of negative or good. I'm not
yeah.
scared of either. So that's why I have a control and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Even after him doing that to me, I still stayed here. Like other people were like, "Oh, well, I would have stopped it. I would have left. I wouldn't have carried on." Why? All it's done to me is made me more intrigued because, believe
Plus,
it
you
or
have
not,
to deal with
negative
these things.
energies are still they're like fallen angels. Okay, they are
Mm.
capable of emotion, feeling. They know what love. They know all of what this is. They're just a
Yeah.
very angry energy that's changed.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Welcome in,
they are
Lee.
very dangerous.
Yeah.
So
Welcome, Lee.
Yeah.
I'm a
If you
chat
don't,
box, guys. Sorry.
if you don't know who Lee is, that's my husband. He's out trucking right now. So he
Nice to
says,
meet you.
"Hello, everybody. I'm here listening and trucking."
Oh, bless her. Nice to meet you.
Good, good. No
Yeah.
better way.
I try not to give the spirits that I know is after like when you get scared they want your energy, but I mean these are after more than that. They're freaking after your soul, those mean
Yeah,
ones. I
yeah.
don't make eye contact with them at all because I know very well once you do, it's like boom, there's a connection there, and they think they have the right to
Yeah,
jump in
and
your
they do.
face and to and so I don't even address those ones at all,
Yeah.
especially when I know there's a history of a particular house that I won't mention on here, that there's already been 6 deaths in that
Yeah,
house, and
Wow.
each one is worse and worse. So at that house, without saying what house it is or whose house it is, um, there's a lot of bad ones in there because that's what they're making them do,
Right.
yeah.
because
And that's what
they
they do that. They manipulate your mind. They
yeah,
make you believe
yeah.
things and believe that
So
you're not
every
worthless and stuff like that.
every single time that there's going to be, and believe me, I know of 2 portals in that house, and I've
Wow.
never
Yeah,
I've never even stepped in that house, and I can tell you where the portals are and what's been coming through, and I've seen everything from creatures that you can't describe to women to men going back way into time according to how they're dressed. I've seen babies that were like mostly head, like a big giant baby head. You see a little baby, but it's a
Right.
big giant head with the rest of the little bit of a body.
Right.
Boys, girls,
Oh,
animals, everything I have seen come through that portal, and I've never been in that house. Never have I been in the house, and I know where those portals are.
yeah.
wow.
And that's what you got to like as an investigator. That you got to know what places are okay to go to and what places are not. Obviously, like I've done this for a very long time, so my aim is that I do look for good spirit. I do look to prove the existence of spirit. But if
Hey,
I've got
JJ.
somebody that comes over to me and
Welcome,
goes,
JJ.
I need your help, Sherry. I've got a negative energy in my house and I need it removed. I'm not going to be the person to turn around and say no because I know how to do
Mhm.
it. And
Yeah.
I came into this, yes, to help good spirit, but to also help people that are having problems with the less unpleasant hauntings. And there is a lot of that
Hmm.
that goes on. And as a kid growing up and seeing all sorts of energy, I know what it's like to be on your own and nobody listening to you. So that's why I
Hmm.
do this. Like people go, you're
Yeah.
nuts, like going in people's houses and getting rid of negative energy. I said it'd be more nuts if you leave a poor family there suffering and not
All
try
right.
You know what I mean? Like if I walk in a house and I'm doing something and I know that I'm not going to be able to do that, I'll tell them straight, there is too much here that I can't do this. You need a priest or something. You know what I mean? But if I know that I can do it, I'll do it. You know, that's just who I am. But I will always keep myself protected. I always make sure that I do like blessings, bath cleansings, all sorts of things for weeks before I go to that location to make sure that I'm protected and stuff like that. I do certain rituals in the house to like so that the energies can't like get us in a certain way and things like that. Like there's a lot of things that come behind it. But if I had the choice, I wouldn't work with negative energy at all. Like if I didn't have this as a career and it was just good spirit, I'd just do that. But sadly, there isn't just good spirit in this world, and some people are very badly affected by it. So
that's what I worry about getting out myself, because I don't sense them in things. I worry about running into something negative and I don't know it's there. So I always just have to trust my instinct. I try and stay as positive as possible and not get scared, but it is hard.
The thing is, sis, even if you don't feel like you've got abilities, we have all got it within us, okay?
Yeah.
You've got the capability that if you walk into a room that you're going to know if that place feels okay or if that place doesn't feel okay.
Yeah, definitely starting to sense that.
And you do it. You have stood there a few times and gone, oh, like the hairs on my neck have gone up. I feel really funny in this area. You do it. It's just you've got to realise you're doing it more. You know what I mean? And then
I try and tune in. That's why when I go into a cemetery, I'll scope around, because I try and let my instincts take over and guide me to where I think. And I just kind of go with the flow.
Lee says that's the most haunted house that he knows of. Yeah, it is. And, you know, I will go in people's houses and stuff, you know, if they say they're haunted. They use the word demons too much, because a lot of times they're not demons. They just don't understand what is there. And I'll go in and do investigation in those houses and stuff. But this one, what happened to you, Drew? You went sideways.
That's what I was doing. That's what I went
Wake up, Drew! You're falling asleep. You're sideways.
nine times out of 10, hauntings that go on in people's houses are not in fact demonic or anything like that. They are a very angry spirit that doesn't like something that you've done or the way you've moved something around, or it's a twisted soul, or it's one of those trickster spirits.
Right.
They're just normal spirits that just got a bit of a problem, or they're not happy about something, or like 9 times out of 10, it's very rare to come across demonic spirit. Demonic spirits will be in places where there's a lot of negative energy, there's a lot of negative atmosphere to it. So 9 times out of 10, if I have somebody come to me, I've got a demonic in my house, I don't sit there and say I don't believe you. I just say, look, there's not jump to conclusions till we know, because a lot of people think that it is, because we all got learned that if you get 3 scratches, it's the sign of the Trinity, and it's it could be a normal spirit just telling you to go away. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you've got to be very careful with how you do that, because it's not just through memory, but even wording and speaking of them and believing that they're there can bring something forward.
That might be the only. Yeah, that might be the only way they know how to communicate. That might be the only way to say, "Hey, I'm here. Pay attention to me."
Like, you've got spirits that can move things about, or they can give you a certain feeling so you know that they're there. And there's some spirits that can't reach out at all. So the only way they do it is leaving a mark on you. And people automatically, when they see 3 scratches, oh my God, I've got a demonic in my house. And it's not. It's not at all. You know what I mean? Like, I've been to houses where they've said it's demonic, and I've gone in there and no, I said, it's a spirit over here. She's really peed off because you've moved this from there. And she's like, how do you know that? Because she's telling me. Okay, she's moving this stuff and she's doing this because she's showing you her anger and her upset. She's trying to reach out to you, and you're not clicking that up. You're thinking it's something negative.
That's right, because they start off with little subtle things, and a lot of people say, I think Drew's trying to come back. It still says device is not connected. There she is. I kind of lost my train of thought. Oh, I was gonna say a lot of them, they'll start off doing little things, and you hear people say, yeah, it started off, but it's getting worse and worse. No, it's not getting worse and worse. It's they started off for little. You weren't paying attention. Now you're starting to pay attention to what they're doing. It's not that it's getting worse. It's now
No.
you're paying attention because they've been trying for a year to get your attention and you weren't listening.
And this is what I said to them. This is what I said to this, because I've been to like a few houses where they've said that they thought they had a demonic there, and like I said, it was just a simple lady that just was not happy with that they'd moved certain things around in the house.
Yeah.
They go, yeah, but it was getting more and it was getting more and it was getting really nasty. I said, no, it wasn't. It was her getting angry because you're noticing it now, but you're still not taking notice of what she's saying. Like you've took this long to get someone to come in and try to find out what's going on. She's trying to reach out to you. You're not understanding it. Why did you not get the help in to try and help her? I said, all it is, if you've moved a certain thing that was in the house when she was there and you've moved it to another area and she doesn't like that. You know what I mean? And they're like, oh. And I was like, move it back, do your prayer and see if it calms down. You know, I'll phone them a couple of weeks later. How's it? It's really calm. Everything feels really nice. Like everywhere just feels happy again. I said, yeah, because she wasn't being nasty. She was trying to be like, hello, I don't want you to move that there. You know, maybe she knew something about that thing and she knew that needed to be there. And she was trying to help.
I see that fall off my that's my refrigerator there, and Liam's wings. Water wings for Zach is up there, and that was there. I'll need to look back the camera and see if it fell. It fell off.
Oh, it come off.
Yep. I'll need
Maybe
to see
that
that
was that before you went sideways? Because you went sideways and we were all teasing you. I think you went sideways and froze up.
Oh, Liam phoned and it knocked me off me answering it. I couldn't hear him. So I just left and then I came back in, but not just 2 seconds ago. I'll need to look back and see if it...
JJ said, oh my, I think Drew's drunk.
I wish.
I lived in a house with a girl about 8, 10, was myself. And later my daughter, then my grandkids could see her. Yeah, you know, some spirits are in houses for years and years and years. Well, that's what you've got to remember. Like the places that we move into and that have been somebody else's home and they may not be here anymore. And it's like when people can't quite understand why do spirits walk through walls and stuff. Why don't they just go through the doorway? Well, what you've got to remember is when they're walking around and they're doing their thing, they're still in that time that house was the way that they remember it being. So where we now have a wall would have been where their stairs was or their doorway. So they still walk in a very different way. Yes, some spirits are very aware that they're in a new world and they see things changing, but they still have that metabolism to walk around that place the way that they knew it. Okay, and that's why they do it. Some of them do it because they just think it's really cool and they really like to see people's reactions. Believe me, I've seen it a few times.
Because some people... some people say, how come some can walk through walls and some walk around? Well, maybe that wall wasn't there 50 years ago when they were alive. You know?
It's like when you see them walking up thin air. That's just where there used to be a stairway.
Or even the ground itself has changed with construction and everything.
And they're like, why do they float in air? It's not them floating in air. They're walking on that house at that time. Because if a house or a building falls down or parts of it go, it still leaves that spiritual energy of how it used to be. So there's still going to be those walls and those parts.
It's amazing that though, isn't it? It really is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you see them hanging in the air and floating. They're not floating because they're made of air. They're walking on their landing, on their going into their doorways and things like that. Like,
yeah, it's just people see things and they automatically get scared because they're scared of the unknown is what it is.
Yeah, and a lot of that isn't what it is for a lot of them. It's not the fact they don't believe in it, they're scared of it, and you don't need to be scared of the unknown. They are people still. They've just gone on to another world. Yes, there are less nice energies, but it's very rare to come across them.
You need to be scared of your people around you.
Sherry had pointed out a point last year when I was talking to her the year before, and it's the fact that spirits have to get used to being deceased as well. Some of them don't realise that they can float in things. Do you want to tell them the funny story about the spirit that you were trying to kind of coach, if you like, Sherry?
Well, there was a couple of them, wasn't there? There was the girl first. There was this girl spirit. She'd just passed over and she wasn't quite sure what was going on. She still kind of believed that she was alive, but not. And she come into my house and come into communication with me and that. And I'm sitting there and she's talking to me and she's like really upset, and I'm trying to make her understand that it's okay. You've just changed body. You're still you. You can still see your family. You can still do this, do that. And she's like, okay. And I could hear somebody had turned up in my front room, and I forgot to tell her about the wall and the door thing. Okay. And I've gone out not thinking, and I've shut the door. And she's gone running after me. She's gone for the wall. She's gone, oh my God, what happened? I slipped through the wall. I was like, no, darling, that's what you can do now. Like, she started freaking out because she said it felt weird. I was tingling. I was like, yeah, you can do that now. But there was another one where there was a gentleman, and he'd been past a couple of weeks, and he hadn't quite grasped how to walk on top of the ground, okay? Because they've got to manifest it in their mind that they can still walk on the ground and stuff, because they can sink, they can do things. This man, head and shoulders were hanging out of the pathway, and he's walking, he's going, what the hell's going on? Why can't I get walk up on where you are? Like, thinking that your legs and your feet are touching this pathway. He started to rise and he's walking across, but then when he started getting, he started sinking again. He's oh my God, he's doing it again. I was like, think about your feet. And then he got used to it. But it's so funny because I'm sitting there stitching at him because he's trying to walk on the pathway, and he's sinking because he's not used to his legs and being the way he is. And he's like, what's going on? I'm like, it's not right, you're fine. You can't physically move or do anything anymore. You do it through your mind. You've got to make your mind believe that your hands can feel this, your legs can feel this, and you'll get used to it. And your body
they feel the energy. They can feel the energy. The energy can flow through whatever limbs that they need to control at that
that's
time.
Why a lot of people get really mistaken with spirits. They think as soon as they die, they know what's wrong with them and what's happened, and they don't. They've got to learn how to walk again, how they've got to do certain things, the fact that their bodies
picking things up.
And the most funniest thing is when you've got an innocent spirit walking there and somebody actually sees it and they freak the hell out, and they're running. This poor spirit's standing there going, what the fuck have I done? I haven't done anything. It's because they're not used to it, because obviously they're not physical bodied anymore. It's they stand there like they don't want to scare you, but people are scared of them because they're not living anymore, and it's like they're the same person.
People think because they pass away immediately, they pass and they can come back and communicate and do everything. Some can, but some can't. Some takes them a while, especially if they passed away like in a car wreck. It was sudden. They didn't even know they passed, or they had dementia or Alzheimer's, any of that. There's a process for there's a process. And people will tell me, well, I've been waiting, 3 months and nothing's happened. Well, for them, it might be a matter of seconds. They might not even know that they've passed yet. Everybody, it takes time. They're all different. It depending on their own personal situation.
Which people don't realise as well. They have a process as well, like that when they first pass, and that they very much stay with their body until they're buried, and they stay with that body for a little bit longer in the place that they're buried in. They don't really know how to leave their physical body, even though they're out of it. They don't want to leave that physical body. They're not quite at grasp that with what's happened. Then it goes from that going into the family home. And you know what you've got to think is their emotion and their feelings. They're pining to be able to give you a kiss and a cuddle and tell you everything's going to be okay. Like when we sit here and we go through grief, when we lose someone, people don't realise they do the same on the other side. They go through that grief as well, because, they're
and it's confusing.
And it can be really overwhelming. And that's what I'm going. I'm going through that process at the moment because I lost my dear granddad and stuff. Okay, but I'm trying so hard not to, because I know that sometimes with your emotions and how you feel, you can really keep them here because they don't want to go. And I don't want him to stay here. I want him to be at peace. You know what I mean? But this is what, I try to explain to people, that they don't just die and forget and just go back to normal and everything's okay. They've got to come to terms with things as well. Like you're saying, some of them don't even know that they're dead. You'll notice that in the investigation sometimes you'll come up and they'll come on the meet and you're going, hello, spirits, and the spirit will come over going, what, I'm dead? And I'm like, yes, darling, you didn't know. But they don't realise. You know what I mean? Shock.
They'll flat come out and ask, am I dead?
Am I dead? Am I dead?
They'll say, am I dead?
And it's the same with the equipment, right? A lot of people, they'll go to these places and stuff, and nothing happens with the equipment a couple of times. But what you've got to remember, to some of these spirits, it's the energy, being able to get the energy to touch those equipment. For some spirits and energies there. They've never seen this sort of equipment because they've come from another time. So they're wondering what that is. Is that harmful? Is that whatever, you know?
Yeah.
That's
especially lights, because fire was dangerous.
Explain it to them. Like, this
Right.
device helps you to speak. This device helps you to show that you're hereby if you touch it, and it lights up the lights. Because a lot of them are very intrigued by that. Even like spirits of today, when they pass, they're very unsure of that equipment because they're not quite sure how to use their energy to make that happen, and they don't know what's going to happen to them. It's all about, am I going to get zapped touching that? Am I going to do this if I touch that?
Especially with the antennas. You touch the antenna and you tell them, touch this, and it'll go off and we'll know you're here. Well, to them, they might have grown up in a time where there was electric fences, which was probably the only thing. And they're like, I ain't going to touch that. It'll shock me. You know, I ain't going to touch that.
People don't get, and this is what I'm like about. I'm like, that's why I'll say, like, because I have like one of the REM pods where you do have to touch the thing for it to go off. And I'm like, right, I know that's this device to some of you might be scary because it's an electrical current, but this current doesn't do what happened to you. All it does is when you touch it, it makes the light go off. And it shows us that you're here. It doesn't zap you. It doesn't hurt you. It doesn't do any of that. Because, like you're saying, Mystical, you know, a lot of them have gone through traumatic experiences. And some of these devices, even though they look different, to them it may be similar. Like the long lead things may be like a memory of something that happened to them. So
especially trap balls with police and things.
Yeah.
You've got to learn, and this is what I said. You can't just go in and start speaking to spirits. You have to build a relationship with them. You have to make them trust you as you trust them. That it's about both of us being equal, and that's why I get a lot of spiritual energy, because I've always been very open to them, very loving, very caring. I don't push them along and expect them to be one way and one day and another.
Do parlor tricks that move things,
and I help them to learn about that process. You know what I mean? And I think that's why I get a lot of interaction.
Yeah, and if you go somewhere and you don't get too much activity, all that means is that doesn't mean they're not there. That just means they don't know you. So they're not going to just pop out and say, hey, here I am. But if you go back several times, like Drew, a lot of times he'll go back to several of the cemeteries. Then it's like you building up a rapport and they're starting to trust you. They see devices that you have. They see that you're a good person. Then they'll start to open up and start to communicate. I've heard people say, well, I don't want to go there no more. Nothing ever happens there. Well, that doesn't mean it won't the next time.
If you've got a very outspoken spirit, then maybe they will first time do something. 9 times out of 10 they don't, and that's where a lot of people go wrong. They go to these locations and they're like, oh, I ain't going there again, it didn't do anything. I'm like, have you ever thought that maybe they didn't want to communicate, or they're trying to work you out and study you, they're trying to see what you're about? Have you ever thought that maybe they've had so many other people coming into that room that have been so disrespectful that they're scared to walk to you, to build that relationship with them? Don't automatically go there, and because something's not happened, it means it's not haunted. That is not the case. It's just you've got to build that relationship, like you're saying.
Because maybe they just can't be bothered at that moment in time, you know.
This church I've been to 30, 40 odd times, it took about 7 or 8 times for those spirits to actually start to physically be like, do you know what, she's all right. She brings us offerings. She always does prayers for us. She'll bring really nice things that we like. And all of the equipment, we have just started to realise it's not actually bad, and that does actually help us to be seen, you know. So that my spirits are very much open to that. But I very much still go past spirits that are like, hell no, I'm not touching that. What the hell have you got in that?
That's what'll send me to hell.
It's not just being used to the equipment, they've got to trust you. Some of these spirits will have trust issues with people themselves, certain sexes. You must have noticed it, like sometimes some females will get really funny about male investigators. It's not because they don't like them, it's because of a
traumatic happened.
Build that trust up again. You do need to do that. It's not just the equipment and the fact they don't know you. Some of them have had very traumatic experiences.
And you maybe remind them of somebody.
And just because you go in and say, like, you go in with a team, just because if they're there, it doesn't mean they're going to show themselves to everybody. They could show themselves. If we 3 were in the same place together, they could show themselves to Drew and communicate with Drew, and me and Sherry not pick up anything, or the other way around, because it's going to be, they'll show themselves to who they want to show
Yeah.
themselves. So if
Yeah.
you're with someone and somebody sees something, don't say, well, I don't see it,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
you don't see it because they don't want you to see it.
Yeah.
You know, they
Yeah,
want
like,
the other person to see.
I'm like, okay, I do say, like, I can't see what you're saying, but what are you seeing? What are you seeing?
Mhm.
What they're doing? And then they'll
Yeah.
explain to me what's going on and stuff like
Right.
that. And then I will move the camera to that direction to see if
Right.
I'm catching what they're getting on there. Because a lot of people are like, well, if you, how can you be seeing it if I'm not seeing it? Well, yeah, you can. Spirits will, like mystical saying, will only show to who they want to show to, and
Yeah.
some
Hmm.
spirits only show to certain people because they were meant to, and that's where
Right.
people go wrong. They think because one person's going to be seeing it, it means the whole group's going to see it. No,
Yeah.
that spirit will only show to who they want to
Yeah.
see. It doesn't mean that they're not there. You know what I mean? So I will go, I don't see it, but tell me what you're seeing. What's the spirit
Right.
doing? Whatever, and
Mhm.
use this device to see if
Right.
it does
And
anything.
and you're not seeing, you're not discrediting what they're
No,
seeing. You're wanting to know what they're seeing so that
but it
maybe you can
intrigues
get
me.
it.
It's
Yeah,
normally
maybe.
me
Yeah.
that sees it. It's normally me that sees it. So when I'm seeing somebody else telling me they're seeing this thing and I'm not this time, it really makes me really happy. I'm like, right, okay, what are they doing to you? They're doing this,
Yeah.
doing that. Go, right, take this piece of that equipment because they're clearly wanting to talk to you and ask you
Yeah.
a question, see if they'll do something for you. I don't try to take that away from them. If it's
Yeah.
their experience, let them have their experience. Don't try and
Yeah.
make it about you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
their experience. So just be very open. So if you are an investigation team and somebody experiences something, don't get funny with them or anything like that. Just be like, okay,
Yeah.
well, what are you seeing? What are they doing? What do you want some of the equipment to use to see if they'll do it? Because what you've got to remember is if that person gets that spirit to do something and show, it's still finalizing your investigation that you're doing as a
Yeah.
team. Something has
Yeah.
happened in your investigation as a
It
team.
doesn't matter who gets
You know
the
what I mean? It doesn't
evidence.
matter who gets it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I love it when
Definitely.
somebody else gets it because it's always me that normally gets it. I'm like, oh my god, when's
Validation.
somebody else going to get an
Mhm.
experience? And so I'm
Yeah.
really happy when it happens.
Like that cemetery I went to on Saturday night, that was the first time I had been there. And I feel as if the spirits, I was saying to Mystical about this today, I feel as if the spirits were a bit shocked that I had went in trying to speak to them. Because it was as if they were like, what's going on type attitude. So
Maybe
I'll
they weren't. Maybe
definitely
they
go
weren't
back.
communicated. Maybe they've not been communicated with very much. So
I
there
wouldn't
was more
imagine they've
people
ever
wanted to
been.
talk to them.
I've never ever heard of anybody investigating that cemetery down there before, so it was really interesting.
And you know, and some spirits will come through, and they'll be really excited when they're trying to talk and stuff, and they're trying to get things through. But what you got to remember, for some of them, they've walked around for years and years and years and not been acknowledged, not been seen, not been
Uh-huh.
noticed.
Yeah.
So when somebody does take notice of them, if
They're
they're
like,
that sort of spirit, they're like, oh my
yeah.
god, speak to
Yeah,
me.
that's what
Like,
I got. That's the feeling I
Right.
got.
They can see me. They can see me.
oh, they
And
want to help us,
plus,
and it does help them because a lot of them are just trapped and they don't know how to move on. And just having that simple conversation with someone understanding what they're saying really helps the spirit to move
mhm.
on. It really does.
And plus, I was at the grave where it was the owners of Birkwood, and I had said to them, "Are you unhappy at the way Birkwood is right now?" And they were saying yes and things, and I'm like, "Wow!" It just shows you that they're validating the know that Birkwood is in ruins.
Mm-hmm.
It was great.
Yep.
Yeah. And
So,
it's an amazing thing. Like, don't get me wrong, guys. Like, being in the paranormal and being spiritual and having all these experiences, that is one of the most amazing things you could possibly do. But it doesn't come without burdens. Okay, always be very safe when you're doing it. Protection, things like that. Because even though it feels like a really pleasant thing when you help a spirit, just remember there's always something that's more negative that's waiting as well. You know,
Yeah.
so always just make sure that you're really careful. Be respectful when you go into places. What you've got to remember, this is another thing I really hate, is when you see these investigators that go into these places, start disrespecting these spirits, talking to them nasty,
Yeah.
moving their things about.
yeah, if you're
Don't be
really
disrespectful.
here, you need to
I
talk
know.
to me.
It's okay to pick something up and look at it and stuff, but put it back. Don't take it with you. It's not
Yeah.
yours. Put it back, you
Or
know,
move
because
it
that's when
deliberate.
people find you in that. And I try to educate people about this. And I really don't like it when somebody goes, well, if you're this sort of spirit and you do this, then do this to me. Why would you be so disrespectful? Would you expect someone to come in your home and talk to you like that? No. So
Yeah.
don't do it to them.
The ones
You
that
know, they've
want
still-
scratched and
they've still
things,
got
it's
feelings.
silly.
they've still got emotions and they still care about that place. You may see it as a dump and it's all grown over, but to them, that's their very beautiful home. They don't see it the way that you're seeing it, and that is their home. So respect their
Yeah.
home. Don't go
That's
in there thinking
somebody's
you're the big
mom, or
man and then you
that's
own it.
somebody's
Yeah,
that's somebody's mom, somebody's dad, somebody's daughter, somebody's son. You know, and
And a lot of
you do have to respect them. Brent Stout says, I've noticed at some cemeteries that gatekeepers would have the spirits stay quiet until the gatekeepers trust you. Yes, that's why it's always
they
good
do.
to give an offering to the
Yeah,
I
gatekeepers
need to
so
yeah,
start
that
that's
they
what
doing
I do
know that you
every
have
time.
good intentions.
that. Yeah.
I take
I
things like
will need to
fruits and
do it.
stuff, and I'll take sweets and stuff up. When I've got tobacco, I'll take a bit of tobacco up there because
Yeah.
Yeah.
there is a gatekeeper in the cemetery that I go to, and the spirits at first, like you were saying, they wouldn't communicate. They would just like watch from a distance, and he would always walk round and watch me and that. And I
Hmm.
started bringing things and going, no, I'm not here to upset you or hurt the spirits or anything like that. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to 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 prove that you're here. I'm spiritual. I see you. I
Mm-hmm.
feel your emotions. I know what you feel and stuff. And I made him know that I appreciate what he does. That he looks after the cemeteries and he looks after
Yeah.
the spirits and stuff like that. And I built a trust with him. And now, because obviously I've got the trust with him, the spirits were allowed to come and talk to me. And now I can't, like I said, I can't walk past that church
Can't get
without
the
just
shop.
going, "Hey, it's Sherry."
Do you want to know what I've always wondered? You know how sometimes the land is ancient, of course, and then like say there's an ancient bit of land, and then maybe a house gets built, and then maybe a block of flats gets built, and then maybe a parking lot or something. Then it all gets torn down. But what if a way back when that land was that person's land, they felt an obligation to hang around and protect it? So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what you do, that spirit is always going to be there, isn't it? No matter what the people try and do to get rid of it,
That's
because
why
they
some
feel that land is theirs.
That's why sometimes they say there's generation hauntings, which
Right.
means it could have gone way back, and then 100 years, maybe something happened. There was somebody, and when I say haunting, I'm not meaning ooh chains
Yeah.
and stuff. Meaning a spirit is there. It could be another 100 years when something was built, and it's like it's a generation on that
Hmm.
land of everything that has come and gone in time.
Because they feel they
Yeah.
need to cling to it. That's
And
crazy, isn't it?
with some of them, even though like the building may not be there that they were used to and stuff, like it might to us like it's all turned into something else. As I'm saying, them spirits, even though we've got a new building there or a car park, they're not seeing it as a car park or a building. They're still seeing that their house is there. They're still seeing that
That's
it's
right.
there. You know what I mean? They
Mm.
because it's their memory. You know what I mean? Even though we're not
Mm-hmm.
seeing it and it's demolished completely, they're still seeing that. So they've got no reason
Yeah.
to move on. That's still that's their energy. Like I said,
Yep.
it's not
Yeah.
just the spirit that gives their energy off. The home itself gives an energy off as well and stays there. It was something that was meant to be there and was part of somebody's life. So all of
Yeah.
it forms energy. That's why you sometimes when you hear about hauntings, people will say, I see a house light turn up. I could see this like misty, white haunting looking house just like come out of nowhere. There was spirits walking around it, then it was gone. It's an
Hmm.
old place that was once there. It's
Right.
still there. It's showing it's still there. You just can't physically see it.
Yep.
You know,
What
so
if there was a spirit from each of those, like a spirit from the land, then a spirit from the house, a spirit from the block of flats, all stayed? That means that that conflict that they all would have would obviously start affecting that area. And I bet a lot of the times
yeah,
that's what goes on.
it can, but what you've got to remember as well is that spirits from different generations, sometimes not all spirits see each other. Okay, you could be from
Oh,
4 or 5
true.
different generations and be
Mm-hmm.
walking around each other and not even realise that there's other spirits there
Yeah.
with you, only people
Yeah.
from your
So
time. So
if they're
it really
yeah,
varies.
if they're from that same time dimension level, they can see each other. If they're from 100, 200 years ago, they're occupying the same area, but they're not occupying the
In a
same
different way.
Mhm.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you might
Yeah.
have a bunch of spirits that are occupying it from 1800s, and there's a living room, and there's a walkway, and then you've got a family from now our time, that passed away suddenly, and they're in there, and they're occupying the house, but they're seeing it as their bedroom because it was their bedroom. You know,
Yeah.
like it's all different, and like, I'm not saying that not all spirits from all times can see each other. Some of them can. They might have a split image where they see something walking through, but a lot of them are very oblivious to other energies of other times being there. They walk around like they're on their own.
Crazy when you think about it like that, isn't it? That they
Yeah.
all haunt each other.
If you have an area and say it's a house, and say the adults were mean, say the kids or whatever, and say they did something to the kids, like passed or something, and then later they died or they committed whatever. Okay, those are in the same time, and the ones that were being hurt when they were alive, they can go through the same process as they passed over if they've not been let to move on. If that one controlling one is keeping them there, they can do that and control them.
Right.
Yeah, and that's why there's such thing as residual hauntings and stuff as well. It's an event and something that happened, and it's really sad when you come into these sort of events where children and stuff have been involved and been attacked, and they're not able to move on because the energy that done that to them is holding them there, keeping them there. You know, and a lot of them do still relive what happened to them before dying. You know, they replay that. That's why with some hauntings you'll see something that's replayed at a certain time every single day. It's something about their death. It's how what happened. It's what they remember, and things like that. And that's what you got. There's so many different elements to hauntings and stuff like that. You know, you've got hauntings where they're not aware.
I'm looking for a picture.
The one with Nicole Kidman, the film with Nicole Kidman, the others, where she's alive and she's in her house, and there was all these people moving things around. And it turned out she was dead, and she didn't realise, and her children were dead. And there was actually a family living in that house, but to her it was all closed up because she'd lost her husband in that. And it was only towards the end that she actually realised that she was dead, and that these people that were trying to come to the house were actually people from another time that passed away that were coming in the house trying to like get to her to let her know that what had happened.
Crazy the way it all works.
Really being filmed.
Amazing.
A poor woman, and then you realise she's dead. She's actually dead. She shot her kids and things like that. And she's stuck there, and she's still in that time. She was still living that life. She had to keep her kids safe. She lived the time that her husband died. She started to remember that. They forget things, you know. And then she she was shown her grave, and she realised that hers and her kids' graves were in her garden. And then she realised that these people that were walking around and opening their doorways are the new people.
She's the ghost.
And she's the ghost.
Yes.
Happened. This is real. Like, we move into houses and people, we think there's spirit here, and they probably think the same about us. Like, we're walking around in our house and moving our stuff about. You know, like.
I'm going to show you a picture of a residual haunting that I took. I could take this picture every single day because it's a residual haunting. And he does. I call him the blue cowboy because he doesn't interact with you or nothing. He just comes looking out the window. And keep in mind, people could live in that house. They could not live in that house. It doesn't matter because it's residual. I don't know if you can see it good or not. I call it the blue cowboy.
I can see it. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. That's a good picture.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But that is what I'm saying. Like with residual hauntings, it's something that happens over and over again. It's just their time. It was something that was important.
Goes in a loop.
That's why you'll see such hauntings where you've got women that are looking out the window and looking over the sea and stuff. They've lost their husband and they were waiting for their husband to come back. That's why there's a lot of these white ladies, grey ladies, and people like that. They're female spirits that went through traumatic times and maybe lost their lover, and they're waiting for him to come back, or like the death of a child, and that somehow they haven't been able to find the child.
Just that traumatic.
Find it. You know, there's it's memories, and they do have memories, and they have the capability to forget as well. Though they don't remember everything. It really depends on what happens to them.
Now I'm going to show you that. I'm going to show you this picture. Now keep in mind, a lot of people at first when they see it, they're like, "Oh, it's an angel." No, if you look, I don't know how good you can see it in the picture when I show it to you, but the head is like a skeleton. Now the pole that it's next to. that's an 8-foot pole. 2 foot is in the ground, so 6 foot is sticking up. So it's going to show you how large it is. But it's on the edge of my property. It cannot cross the property line. You'll see how close it is to the pole. That's my property line. Look.
All right, I can see it.
Wow.
Yeah, that's. Oh wow, that is clear.
And you
There's
can,
some
yeah.
very negative. It doesn't necessarily mean it's an angel. Some negative energies have wings and stuff like that. And
Yeah, and you can clearly tell that it's a, well, you can't see there, but in the regular picture, you can't really tell there. She actually has boobs. You can clearly
Wow.
tell it's a female. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you really can't see it there because there's a glare
I
on
would
it.
put it on your community wall.
You can't.
Maybe you can
I don't
share it to your
know.
community wall.
Oh, okay. But yeah, and so you can see how big it is next to that pole. That's on my property
Wow.
line, and it
That's
can't
not a
cross
normal
onto the
spirit.
property line.
That's definitely not a normal spirit, and it's definitely not an angel.
It gives
So
off vibes.
angels have auras around them as well. They'd have an aura around them. They always
Yeah.
send off the
But
light.
you can see the wing. You can see like wings, but and it's not a bug because that's a tall,
not.
tall
That's
post.
a bit too big for me, but
And
That's not
a
bug.
lot of these I take a picture myself, so I know if it's a little bug flying versus something that's big as me, you know, flying around. But I have hundreds of pictures that one little thing tried to form about this close to my property line, and it started forming like a little mist, a little white mist, and then as the body kind of grew, it started forming legs like a spider.
Ooh.
But then the head looked like a calf, and then it had like the ears come out and looks like a bat.
Wow.
I have that picture on my phone too.
Well, they can look like what they want.
Yeah, and then after it all formed, like I say, it was like so close to my property line, but it couldn't come across my property line. Mm-hmm. And it stayed there for about 5 minutes before it started disappearing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some very strange looking creatures from the other side.
Yeah, I bet there is.
Yep.
No spidery looking ones, please, no.
I don't like spiders, so I don't think I'd go there with that.
Nothing buggy. Please, nothing like bugs.
No.
Nothing what?
Nothing like bugs.
Well, I'm all
Nothing
right.
that looks like bugs.
Don't like bugs either. I don't like spiders or anything like that. They scare me.
Oh.
So yeah, no.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I won't
6-foot
show them,
spider.
but yeah, it was like a whole bunch of different things, like trying to come together as one. It looked weird.
You was okay to show your picture. We weren't telling you to not show your picture. What we was just saying is that we hope we never come across anything that's spider-like.
Oh yeah, show the picture. Yeah, show the
I
picture. I'm just gonna hope I never ever see anything that looks like a bug.
I didn't want to give you a nightmare. Okay.
No, of course.
We're all right. They won't give a nightmare. We just don't like spiders and that.
Yeah.
Ever
See, and nothing like that's really scary. You know what scares me? Now, nothing scares me. Nothing scares me except for, well, if I'm doing a paranormal investigation and a human comes up, it's going to scare me. It's going to be like, what do they want? But getting lost scares me. And I think that results from the time that I was coming from work one time, a long time ago, my kids were little, that I drove every single day. And then, boom, all of a sudden, it's like, where the hell am I? I was in a completely different town.
Wow.
Off of just my coming from work to home, I was in another whole town. Like, how the hell did I get here? I mean, if aliens took me, they could at least put me back where I belong.
Well, look what Tequila said about going into different dimensions when you're driving. So who's to say you didn't do that?
You can.
Oh,
you can go
here it
into
is.
other dimensions and other areas.
I don't know how you. If
Yeah,
you can
Lady
see it
Gravedancer
good
was
or
saying
not.
that when
Let me
we
see.
Oh my god.
Oh wow, that's crazy looking.
It
It
is.
just looks like a big blob trying to form.
Yeah, you can see its eyes.
Like the legs starting to come out the side.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
You can
You need to put them to your community post.
Yeah, the eyes
Yeah,
are staring
you can
straight
find
at me. And do you know?
Wow.
Yeah. So hopefully you can see
Like, I
that
wouldn't
good.
run. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't
No,
run.
neither would I.
And
No.
stuff like that. But I'm just not. like I will never kill a spider or anything. It's a natural living thing. If a spider comes in my house, I'm not scared of it enough that I can't put it into a cup and throw it
Yeah.
outside.
I'm
I
okay
just
if
don't
it
like
unless
the
it
whole
touches
thought of
me.
it being on my
Yeah.
skin or when it just creeps me out a bit. You know what I mean?
I'm the same. I
Yeah.
just don't like touching them.
No.
Yeah, what is
As long as they're like in the
hand pink
distance and away
waving?
from me, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's why I say when I see things, I see them like all different kind of
Yeah.
creatures, everything. I mean, it's weird. I've heard people say, "How come nobody ever talks about seeing like dinosaurs and stuff like that from the
Yeah.
past?" Let me tell you, I have. I was driving down the road one time, when a lot of times when I see stuff, the whole scenery will change. It's just not
Right.
the one little thing. So I'm
Right.
driving, and it's a good thing I wasn't driving on the mountain
It's as
because
if you're getting a
I
peek
was.
into a different dimension then.
Yes,
I agree with
exactly.
that.
So
Yeah.
I'm driving home, and the whole entire, and it was a straightaway. So thank God I was off the mountain because the mountain is like this. So I was
Mm-hmm.
already off the mountain on the straightaway. The whole entire scenery changed in front of me, and it's kind of like it was all like sand,
Wow.
like everything in front of me. It was no more mountains or anything. Okay, it's like all of a sudden split. It was all sand in front of me, and here come a freaking, what do you call those really smart ones with the little short legs, they like you see on Jurassic Park, those
Oh,
real
Oh, what are
smart.
the
Tyrannosaurus Rex,
T-Rexes?
the little ones that are a bit like
Oh, I
Tyrannosaurus
don't
Rex.
know. I would
Yeah,
just think the wee ones with the wee
yeah.
legs.
The really
Okay,
fast
okay.
running ones.
So when everything changed into sand, hauling ass right across in front of me was one
Oh,
of those
wow.
running as fast as it could run, and as soon as it passed in
Is
front
it a
of me,
pterodactyl?
yeah,
Pterodactyl.
no, a
Yeah,
pterodactyl
Oh,
flies.
pterodactyls.
pterodactyl's the
Also, it
bird.
does.
Yeah,
Sorry,
it's
guys.
but you know what I'm
Oh,
talking
I
about.
know
But
it's a bit like the Tyrannosaurus
Source
Rex, but they're
Rex.
little and they're really athletic, isn't they? They're really
Mm-hmm.
fast.
You
Yes,
scared.
yes. It
Yeah,
looked
I know the ones you're
extremely.
on about. I just
Yeah,
can't remember the name
it
of them.
It looked extremely familiar, just extremely familiar, like that was the only way I could describe it. But the whole thing changed into like a sand area, and here it come hauling ass in front of me, and as soon as it crossed in front of me, everything went back to normal again. It's almost
Wow.
like I crossed into a parallel, or it
Mm,
crossed me just for a split second for me to see that, and then it
that's
changed.
crazy.
Then it changed back again.
So it's showing
Yeah.
you its energy then. So, but maybe it was showing you what used to be there thousands and thousands of
And
millions of
that's
years
what I
ago.
was
You know?
thinking.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking too. So when I got home, I was telling my husband, and he said that's probably what was there.
Running about, yeah, because
Mm,
it's a bit random
Yeah,
to get one of them just run past your car. You know what I mean? So it's got to
yeah,
be
oh,
there. You know what I mean?
yeah,
wow.
yeah. It's like it
I
didn't see
wish.
me. It didn't see me, or it's
Oh
like
no,
it
it
didn't
wouldn't
see
have
me
been
or
oblivious.
address the fact that I was there or anything, because I'm moving 55
Was
miles
your
an
guides
hour,
letting you
and it
see it?
just shoom in front of me, and then everything switched back again.
Wow.
Because
I'm
they were
surprised.
very good hunters. Them dinosaurs as well. They were very good with like the Agnor and how they
Yeah.
go about things. Very fast
Yeah,
hunters. I
what
know the
is?
Mm-hmm.
one you're on about. I just can't remember the
Um,
name of it.
Hunters.
And it was the
I
one
know.
that got that man in Jurassic Park, weren't it? In that big cage thing, they got hold of him. Those
Yeah,
little,
yeah, real
Natural
extremely
predators.
similar
yeah,
to that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Raptor. Phoenix says
Raptor,
raptor.
that's it.
Yeah,
Raptor.
That's it.
yeah,
Yeah, I knew it
yeah.
was
It's
something
you
it
like
look just
that.
yeah.
know
That's
the
right, Phoenix.
dinosaurs?
Oh, and Paradox Fossils is in here too and said raptors. Yep,
Raptors, yeah, yeah.
yep.
I knew it
That's
was something, but I
exactly.
said pterodactyl for some reason. But
Yeah,
I was, like the
yeah.
shape and the way it looked.
But when I see things like that, it shows, and it's just like it's so real. It's like I'm in that time, and then it, you
But
know,
that's because it is real. That is them showing you, like
yeah.
you're seeing that energy. It's like me with my extraterrestrial guys. I'm taken quite regularly, and I see things to do with planets and things like that. And I talk to extraterrestrial, and I do all that sort of thing. I've had experiences where I've been taken, and
Mhm.
you know, and sometimes when they communicate with you or they're wanting you to know something, they'll take you to that place. And I just think that's what's happening to you. That you're driving in a place that's got a residual energy that once was there. So you're seeing that because you're capable of seeing that, and it's taking you
Mhm.
into those divisions, like Sister Drew said. It's taking you into dimensions, other
Yeah.
dimensions, because there isn't just dimensions in the spirit world. There's dimensions here on Earth as well. There are still things that were here that we don't see.
Mhm.
So That's what it is. It's like a massive big puzzle. Most of it's not seen. You know, we're aware of each other, but we don't realise that everything that was here before us is still here. It's still here.
Right,
You know,
right.
So
Paradox Fossil says time jumps.
it does. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, that is just so weird when that happens. I was on the mountain one time,
It's
and
so
it's like
cool.
my third eye opened up for a split second while I was on the mountain, and there was no railings or anything on the mountain, and everything got so. It was like a color of purple that I've never in my life seen before. So brilliant that nothing, you couldn't see through it. Nothing else. Just boom, it was there. And I was almost on a curve too coming up. But as fast as it came, it was just like.
Makes you wonder if that's how people disappear through things like that.
It was just like 1,000, 1,002, and then it disappeared. And then I made the curve, and I was like, oh, crap. Because I came close to not making that curve.
Scary if it just catches you off guard. Like, that's what worries me. That's why I don't drive, because I'm really worried that I'm going to drive into something I don't. Because I get so fascinated by what I see sometimes, and especially when I'm out of this way. So, like me driving, I think I'd be really dangerous. I'd probably go up somebody's bum or down.
I can't wait. Honestly, I cannot wait.
Like, for instance, you see that dinosaur running past.
That'd be strange.
I'd have stopped the car, probably made a massive pile up because I'm just so fascinated. Dinosaur running.
So fascinated.
Yeah. Padcock.
I call it.
We're not. We're doing. Pat, we're doing interviews right now, sweetie. So I'm not putting the link up in the chat. Okay.
But I'm one of these. I find like anything strange and unknown so fascinating. So if I see what mystical see, I'd have stopped the car, no matter if it was alien or whatever, and everyone would have been like, "Oh, see that."
But I was telling, I
would really like to see it.
I was telling Drew and one of the other, when we were interviewing somebody else, that a lot of times when spirits want to show themselves to, okay, like if they had died on the side of the road, what they do what they do a lot of times is they'll start manifesting. I can see them at a distance because it's like a dust, what do you call them, dust clouds, how they go round and round and then they go up
like a whirlwind.
Yes. Okay. Some of them, they start forming that way to me, and then as they start forming more, then they start getting their shape until they're a full, like a full body apparition. Well, sometimes I'll just ignore them when we're driving by. Well, this day, Lee's driving. I'm, of course, sitting in the passenger side, and we're holding hands in the middle. And I see it, and it was a female, and I was trying to ignore her as we were going by. She was wanting me to acknowledge the fact that she was there. But, Lee's driving, and so I just kind of ignore her. And then, so in order to get my attention, she sends out a freaking shockwave. What happened is, you know how you hold electrical wire, and if you're holding somebody else, it goes through you and hits them? Yeah. Well, I was holding Lee's hand, and when she sent out that shockwave to me, it went straight to me, and it hit Lee, and Lee, with him holding my hand, he was like, "Crap, what was that? Was that a spirit?"
You can do that.
And I said, I said, she tried to get my attention, so she tried to shock me, but since you were holding my hand, you got shocked. So it went through me, and it hit him, and he got shocked, and he knew right away what it was. I said, I
thought you were going to say she appeared in the back seat.
No, because a lot of times they'll send out shock waves and stuff to get my attention, but it hit him instead of me.
Oh, they do. And when it does physically hit you yourself, it does hurt as well. Like, especially if it's not expected. Like I've had it. Yeah. Where I've walked past spirits and I'm like, right, like, I'm really busy and I've got people with me. I'm just going to ignore you.
I wonder if that's where your sharp pain
like come from. And I've been zapped and I've been like, and then like my mate's like, what's wrong with you? I said, oh, don't worry, I just got a spasm. It won't. It's because I got zapped by the spirit going past them. You know what I mean? It's like,
I wonder if that is what happens when you're just walking randomly and you get a pain in your shoulder or something. I wonder if it's a spirit
trying to get your attention. They can see see when you've got an ability there. They can see when you are
Yeah.
open, even though you don't think you're that open, sis. You are, and they do
Yeah.
see that.
It's like a
they see us
beacon.
as a form of light, a beam
Yeah.
that comes from us that shows
Yeah.
us that we're spiritually open. We can see them.
Yeah.
So when we're walking past them, they're like, "Oh, you're going to ignore me today, are you?" Like,
Yeah. Yeah, it was funny because at first Lee said, "What was it?" Well, he said, "What the fuck was that?" But as soon as he said it, he knew what it was, and he said, "Was that a spirit?" I said, "Yeah, she was manifesting
Yeah.
on the side of the road." I was trying to ignore her, is what what I told him. But yeah, he definitely he felt it. But yeah, it's like when you're open and you can see things, feel things, all that. It's like there's a beacon attached to you, and as you're going by, they see it from a distance, and then they start trying to. Because she started already, I could see it at a distance starting to form.
Right.
So she was trying to get my attention as we come up. Yeah, as we come up on her. But,
like they're like us, really. If you think about it, like when we're going, like if we're physically open, we can feel what a place is going to be like and what might happen there before we even get there. I can. Okay, so. Like it's the same for them. Like if we're in a car or we're just a little distance down the road, they can feel and sense up on what we're doing. Like everybody has a spiritual connection, like I said, and we all carry a light. But when you're actually physically so open, that light is so expanded that can't even ignore it. They know that you're you're open.
Yeah, and that's when you have to be so careful, because not only are you pulling in good spirits, you're pulling in bad spirits too. And like Sherry says, and we all know all of our protections that we, do. I have this. If I'm going into not just like a cemetery or something, but if I'm gonna go into some place that I know I can feel ahead of time that is really bad haunted, like somebody's house or something that they've reached out, and and I'll question and I'll ask a whole bunch of questions, what's going on and stuff. And if I feel it without even going there, I have this long, and I have it on my phone, it's so long that I would do an entire protection prayer, not just for me, but for any innocent people on that property, for people who's been trapped on that property for years, calling in the north, south, east, and west, calling on, I have this whole thing that I do that covers everything before I even go on that, property.
Uncle Danny gave us the course a couple of weeks ago like that.
The four corners, the four colours, the four directions, the elementals.
It's really important.
It's something big. Like if I'm going to a building and I know it's not feeling too good, or I know something's going on there, I always do my prayers. I do my prayers while I'm in my house.
Hey Lou.
Before I get in my car, then I'll do it before I get into the building. You know what I mean? And like I said to you, if I get to a place and I really don't like the feel of it, and I know I'm not going to be able to handle it, I'm not even going to attempt to walk into that building. You know what I mean? I'm going to walk. I'm sorry, you need to get better help. You know what I mean?
You're trying to track your hero.
On the one house that I know how bad it is, because I know how many people's died in that house. I won't go into it. And before the third person died in that house, he had invited me, because he didn't have a whole lot. He was like, even though he was like taking drugs and stuff, I'll say hearsay, he was, still very talkative person and stuff. But I would like it in the winter time, I would like take extra blankets and, stuff like that, coats and stuff. And I would take them and I would just leave them like on the porch, but I would do a prayer before I even stepped on that property, and then just to leave it on the porch. Well, and I asked him one time when I seen him, I said, do you see all of those spirits in your house? Do you see all those shadow figures in your house? And he just looked at me, a blank look, never said another word, didn't say yes, didn't say no. Now, if somebody asked me that, I'd be like, what are you talking about? What have you seen?
What?
Yeah. He never.
The thing is, if you're aware of all of the stuff that's happened in that house, and a lot of the people that have mysteriously died, I do believe that they're going to have been having some sort of experience in that. And I think that maybe he didn't say anything to you because he knew by speaking to you and saying, yes, I see them, it's going to cause him more problem. Okay.
Well, it caused a problem because he died in that house.
Yeah. But that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. You're acknowledging that those spirits are there and things like that. And those spirits are very connected to him because he's living there and stuff like that. And if you're asking questions and stuff like that, those spirits are not going to like that, are they? And it's not going to be you that they attack. It's going to be him for allowing somebody to be saying that. So, and it's really sad that so many people have lost their life in that place. But this is what I'm saying. Like, a lot of people think that with paranormal, it's just spirits walking around or with demonic doing here and there. Like, spirits, depending on what they are, can cause death majorly. They can.
Oh,
They
yeah.
can cause death. They can make death. And, you know, like, not all spirits are kind. Not all spirits are there to do that. But
Hey,
there are
Colin.
that are directly
Welcome, Colin.
in life. They're there
Yeah.
to end your life. They're not there to be your friend. They're
Yeah.
not there to scare you. They're there to take your life. They want your
Yeah.
soul.
Yeah.
You know? And
Well,
That's what I keep saying to people. The bad energies, most of them are not going to perform for YouTube. Most of them will attach to you, and you don't even know they're there until you start feeling your
that's
mood
why it annoys me
slipping
when you
down
get
and
people that
things.
do say that they see the demonics. Oh, well, there's a demonic and stuff. So why do you do that? Oh, and then when they sit there and they make stupid things like, well, if you're a demonic and you're so bad, why don't you do something to me when I'm bent
Yeah.
over it? Stuff like that. And then they get attacked, yeah, and then they're sitting there the next day bitching online about how they got attacked. That spirit. I said, well, what do you expect, mate, when you was disrespecting it? Don't go in there doing that. Good
Yeah.
or bad.
Now,
Don't
and
do that.
a lot of people will say, okay, now I'm not going to talk about anybody if they do it. That's not me.
No.
I will never go into a place and say, can you touch me? Can you scratch me? Can you do this? Can you do that? Because to me, that's giving them permission to invade your body. So I don't do that. I'm too chicken to do that. I say you're not allowed. I say you're not allowed to come with it. You know, in my circle. You can talk to me. You can show me you're here. We can have a conversation, but don't come into my circle.
See, the only reason I ask them to touch me is because I don't see them and I don't feel them around me and things. That's why often, if I'm confident, I'll say you can touch me if you want, but only if I feel it's positive, you know.
I do say to them to touch me and stuff as well, like, but I will always do a prayer saying I do not invite any negative or evil energy to be around me. I only invite good energy, and I'll say, don't touch me unless I invite you.
Yeah.
So if I say, spirit, I know that you're there. Can you touch my hand? They know to do that. If something just touches me unexpectedly, I'll be like, please, can you not do that? Like, let me know that you're here first. Make me aware that you're here. Then I let you do that.
See,
you know what
I don't, because of all the things that I've seen.
True.
You know, they're just not humans that I see, or so-called spirits or shadows that I see. I see so many weird ass things.
You're like Amy Allen. You see all the deep dark
fair enough, because of what you experience and the stuff you've got around you. I wouldn't even stand there and go, come and touch me with what you've got at the house. You know what I mean? Not outside. I wouldn't. But like, in general, when I'm going to investigations and stuff, if I know it's going to be a reasonably nice place, I'll always make sure I protect myself. But I have never been somebody that would turn around and say, I don't want to be touched by spirit. I've always, I don't know why, I feel like a much more bigger connection when they do that, when they can touch, because I pick up on their emotion and things. When they touch me, I feel and see so much more from them. But I'll always make sure that I say, if you're negative, you're not welcome to come in my circle, you're not welcome to come near me, only good. And I'll have stones, crystals and all stuff with me so that nothing negative can get near me, you know what I mean? So I make sure that I am protected, but don't just physically, we're not saying that means you guys go out there and start asking them to touch you.
Yeah, exactly. Don't. We do our prayers and everything before we go, we're cleansing and everything.
But some of you guys may be new, but just don't go into a place and go, come and touch me. Like, make sure you're always like, put your boundaries.
Be aware of where you are when you say that. Don't say it in an abandoned creepy mansion.
No.
An asylum.
And you're in a room and it's feeling really nice and you're feeling good and you know that the energies are interacting with the equipment and you know they're being very nice to you on the spirit box. Then if you feel like it, just go, look, hello spirits.
Touch my hand or something, or move my hair.
Spirits to come near me or to interact with me, but I'm asking the good spirits that I'm communicating with to please come forward. If you want to touch my hair or touch my hand just to let me know you're here, you can. Because you're don't automatically invite them. Maybe just get
don't scare me.
Don't do it without crystals and protection. Don't do any sort of communication without protection. You need to make sure you're protected.
Yeah, that's important.
You definitely got to know what you're doing.
That's how people get into trouble, when they don't realise that you do need to ask for some sort of protection, you know.
Sherry, this one right here we were doing in the tunnel where also Summer Wells was in that tunnel at one time. This was on the SLS camera, and there's like 3 pictures, and you can clearly see its leg coming up to kick. I kept saying, I feel something on my leg, I feel something on my leg. Well, my friend got my SLS camera out, and she was filming, and Lee was with her, and it was kicking me in the leg, and it's as tall as the tunnel is.
Wow.
Let me show you here. Let me show you here.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're demonic. It could
That's
be
correct.
Elementals are very
the little one is me. The little one is me. Okay, now
that's very human, like that one. So that to me that looks like that might be elemental.
Now you can see the leg coming up. See the leg coming up because it was kicking me.
You out the way.
Wow.
It was literally kicking me. Look.
But it could have been scared of you, and it's kicking you just so you don't come into its area.
And stuff, like, you know. And what you got to think, right? Elemental spirits are very big, very tall, very stocky. Don't matter if they're male or female. Then what you got to remember as well is years and years and years and years and thousands of years ago, giants existed. How do you know that?
Yeah.
And you're
that's exactly right.
Liquid ground, and it's like, get the hell off, right?
Yeah. This one here was a different one. Now, see the one up on top? It was climbing the wall up above me.
Oh, right. I thought that was somebody standing.
No, it's up on the wall. Because the cave is like this.
Yeah.
So I'm standing here, and it was climbing up the wall like that.
Well, that to me doesn't sound positive. If it's climbing up walls, no, that's not.
No, it wasn't bad because I didn't get a bad feeling out of it the whole time. Either one, other than the one I'm saying. I could feel it. I'm like, I keep feeling something on my leg. Well, it was kicking me in the leg.
Yeah.
An extra toe spirit.
There are some negative energies that do that. They climb up the walls and go across
now,
the sea.
This one wasn't a nice one. I don't know if you can make out the face or not.
He looks like he's got a moustache. He's got his nose there and his eyes. And he's got a moustache.
That one, that's on the roof of the tunnel, all the way up above us. It was like right straight above us, looking down. I was trying to find the one with the baby that I told you had that big baby head. I have so many.
But like some of them things that you see, like what Mystical Sister is talking about spirits going up, like they're not always negative or anything.
No.
Because sometimes you got to remember that tunnel may have had another entrance at some point or something, and maybe that's like an entrance that they came in from, and it's just not there anymore. So that's what you remember, like. And
what it was is there was a girl, lady kidnapped or something. She had a baby, and they were killed in that tunnel. So my device is
the baby crying if you knock the wall or something.
The first thing that came out on my devices was mommy, and then later during the investigation, all the team, they're kidding around and they're laughing and they're all doing kind of stuff because they're new at it, they're new, so they got to learn. And then toward the end, you could hear the lady crying and sobbing, and all that came out on the camera. But,
it's sad when things like that happen. They kind of get lost. They don't really quite understand what's happened, and sometimes when they get killed, especially if it was a mother and a child, sometimes the mother and child don't reconnect either. Like they get kind of lost from each other. Like it's really sad. It is really sad.
Yeah. But
there was something about there's knocking on the wall or something, and you hear the baby crying. I remember seeing other YouTubers doing that tunnel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now this one here, it's a window, okay? It's a glass window, like in an attic, and the door opens to the the door opens to the outside. The lock is on the outside of that window, not on the inside, okay? It's on the outside of the window. Okay, so when I took this picture, there's a hand, like a furry hand, and it's coming through the glass, trying to over the latch, trying to open the latch. Now trying to get it open, but yet its hand is already through the glass.
Yeah.
So that's the hand there, and it's
Oh,
the hand is right over the latch. There's a latch there. It's through the glass.
Trying to lift the latch up then.
Yeah, it's coming through the glass. The hand is through the glass and over on top of the latch to try to unlatch it.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
They do some mad stuff, guys. Believe me. I do.
I mean, that's just like freaking crazy.
Anyone
You could post some of them to the community wall.
The one thing that makes me laugh in these horror films, right? Okay, and all these films to do with paranormal. What is it that people do? They automatically run into a room where there is a lock and they think they're safe, but the spirits can open that door. You know what I mean? Like, why would you go in there? Like, what do you do
through the ceiling?
Shut the door, put the lock on, and the spirit can't come in. It's energy. It's going
to. Oh, that would freak me out. If they came up through the floor or something.
Opening, and it's not even in the room with you. You know the lock's in your side, but because they're invisible, they can just open that anyway.
Yeah.
So don't run into buildings.
There's no Johnny there.
Right.
Oh Lord, but you know, it's like that. It's like, okay, was the spirit not smart enough to know if it stuck its hand through the glass, the whole body could just come out of the glass?
Yeah, very true.
But instead, that lock was on the outside, not on the inside to keep anything from outside to get in. It was on the outside to keep everything in, to keep it in. So it's almost like, well, if I can reach and open up the latch, then I can open the door and get out. But yet it was already sticking out of the glass.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, but I think like for a lot of them, they could just kind of try to show what they can do. You know, like because it does. It giggles me every time when you see like people get scared in it. They run off to buildings or certain rooms and they shut the door. And I'm like, why are you shutting the door? They walk through the door, mate. Like, like you lock a door, they can manipulate that lock and open it without even being in the room with you.
Or they'll just keep banging on it till you get aggravated.
Must have
That's what they mostly do.
Sometimes where you've been in a room and suddenly the inside lock that you've got suddenly locks you into the room, because they can do that. They can
manipulate that.
Right? And I've had it where people have gone and they've got under tables or gone into like little areas where it's all shut off thinking that they're safe. I'm like, they can bloody see you. Safe. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God. Why don't you ever do that then? Like,
well, human instinct.
I know that I don't want that energy to come near me. I leave the house. That's the only way you're going to get better from. Leave the house, do your prayer, and go. Don't lock yourself in the cupboard. Because it'll be you know what I mean?
Yep. It's amazing the things that I have seen, that things that I don't even know how to even describe them, you know, when I see them.
And it is
paradox.
And I only know that from when I was young, and I used to lock myself in my cupboard. Like, I had a wardrobe that had my clothes in it and stuff, and I used to lock myself in my wardrobe. Yeah. No, I'd be safe, and I'd turn around and there's a spirit right next to me, and I'm like, ah! Out of the blood thing, like running. And, like, obviously, as I got older and they speak,
when you learn,
I learned about them, and I learned that, and that was the first thing my nan says: don't go into places and hide. They can get in it with you, you silly girl. You do realise that? And I'm like, oh my God.
Can you make out the eyes? Look.
Yeah.
I can see them.
This is the eye. This right here is part of the eye coming down across the nose. Let me put it in an angle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you can see it the first angle.
Yeah, there. See the eye?
Yeah, you can see it.
You've most definitely got some very strange energies.
Just like orange eyes as well.
Yeah.
Orange and yellow.
Does not mean it's negative.
That one right there, that's one of them that I tell my husband, just keep ignoring it. It stares a lot, and And what I'll do is, like, if I move to a certain area, I'll kind of glance up, and it also shifts its eyes to stare. So wherever I move at, it
It's
follows.
watching you.
Yeah,
Follows you.
it follows, and that's what it does. It watches, and I tell my husband, just do whatever you need to do. Don't even look
Ignore
at it. Don't even address it, because its eyes are going to follow you no matter where you
Yeah.
walk
Right.
Obviously,
to
you're
back
used
there.
to those energies, and you know what those energies and stuff are. So you know that they're like, some of them are not very good. But for anyone that's going into investigations or anything like that, you're going to see red eyes, orange eyes, grey eyes, and whatever. It doesn't necessarily mean that these energies are negative. Okay, like that they give off what they want to give off. Like some spirits, they portray themselves and make themselves look like something else to keep somebody away from them. They're not actually physically a negative energy. It's just a way for them to disguise themselves and to be left alone and things like that. Like spirits are very, very intelligent. And don't you think that they've started to pick up that people are really scared of demonic and all that? So if we knock 3 times and do 3 scratches, they'll think it's a demonic and run. That's silly.
Say the demon word a couple of times in their spirit box.
Because a lot of times when people think something is demonic, it's only because they don't understand their feelings. It's because they're scared. Sherry, you keep feeling something behind you?
I have somebody that I have an extraterrestrial friend that when there's certain people that he likes, he knocks me out the way to look at you on your screen. And he knows true. He most definitely knows true, but he likes what you're doing. And then I have other spirits that are just really nosy and like to see who I'm talking
what you're doing.
Being polite.
How funny. Oh, I found the one. I found the one with the baby.
As well.
Okay. That's the baby's head. And so in the picture you can't see the body because the grass is right there. But that's a baby's head.
You can definitely see
that. It's got a huge head, isn't it?
Yeah.
Huh?
That's got a big head.
Wow.
Yeah, a huge. You can see the ears and everything on it. Yeah.
Wow.
That's most definitely not human, because
it makes you wonder.
A massive head and a little body, would it? So there's obviously something quite not right with that.
You wonder where it's crawling out from.
Well,
That's
you
what
can.
we get into,
what dimensions it coming from?
But you see the fence pose.
Yeah.
The fence pose. Okay, on this side of the fence post, that's my property line. Me and Lee put those fence posts up to keep them on.
But can you see that as well? Like, you know, like where you've done your circle and stuff, like there. If you look above, it looks like there's a noose. There looks like there's like a long rope with the noose, but it's upwards, not downwards. Can you see that? There looks like there's a noose.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, hanging for the tree. Well, I would use the light energy.
Yeah.
But
nothing would surprise me.
Like, years and years and years and years back, hanging was a very popular thing for like punishments and stuff, weren't it? Like all these old places have got some sort of form to do with a hanging.
I always wonder about that tree down the street. I don't know if I've ever showed you. I've probably seen it. There's a big oak tree in the middle of the swing park down the street. And see, when you're close to that tree, you get crazy vibes from it. And I'm always drawn to it. And I wonder, is it maybe where they hung people?
It could
something way back.
A lot of oak trees were used for
I don't think you can see the eyes. The eyes are across.
The energy there.
Let me see. You can't see for the reflection.
No,
right there.
It's reflecting.
Right there. See the eyes here and here?
Just
a little bit, but I'm not sure if it's the same.
Eyes, don't they? It's slightly
like that one's
but...
an evil one. That's an evil one there.
You can tell because of how dark it is. There's no light.
Oh yeah, you can
see the eyes there now.
Yeah, you see it better now.
Yeah, you can see the eyes right there.
Wow.
Now.
And not everyone always goes like, how can you tell the difference between a good and dark spirit? Well, good spirits, no matter what, will carry around an aura where the negative energies don't. It's
they don't want to scare you.
Stuff like that. You know what I mean? They're completely the opposite. They don't give off like a shadow like or anything like that. They're very dark, misty, vapor like. They'll come up like vapor and disappear down like.
And the last thing they want to do is scare you, so they would probably, in my opinion, because I don't see them obviously, they'd probably manifest something that would be nice and joyful, not something with big orange eyes. You
To
know?
be quite honest, negative energies and stuff like that, like a lot of people that they really overview what negative energy is about. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that they're good and go and look for them and stuff like that, yeah. But if 9 times out of 10, if you leave them alone and you get on doing your own thing, they'll leave you alone. Okay, it's only when you start getting all smart with them and thinking that you're bigger than them that really starts to toy you
If
down. I'm
you
not saying that all of
if,
them are like
if
that. Some
you
of them will come and get you for a
Yeah.
specific reason,
yeah,
maybe. But
if you
a lot of them won't be like,
antagonize them, they're going to show you how much power they got.
exactly. If you just like, in my whole
Yeah.
time that I've done this, obviously got negative energies out of people's houses and stuff. Okay, so I've seen a few, but if I'm saying like coming across a negative energy without having to do anything to it, I've probably only ever seen them twice in actually
Right.
just not physically having to do anything. They're really
Yeah.
not that known to be seen, even though they're there. You know what I mean? And if you're going about doing your own day thing every day and you're not upsetting them, they'll leave you alone. They
Yeah.
only come to you if they've got a reason to come to you, or if you've disrespected them and upset them. Then yeah, you're going to get trouble. And I'm not being funny. If you're going to go
If
in
they
there
can get
and you're
something
going
from
to
you.
respect,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to judge them. That's your own fault if they come and find you. I'm sorry, but it is because you would you like. I respect good and I respect bad. Okay, I respect both.
Yeah.
Not because I'm in with them, but for the simple fact is, with negative energies, you don't know how far they can go. You don't know what they're capable of. So why would you try to
Better
find?
to understand it.
You know what I mean? So you
Yeah.
always be respectful and like Mystical said, you know, if you don't like the feel of something, just don't acknowledge it. Don't
Yeah.
talk to it. Don't interact with it. Things like that. Just
Just
put
go
protection
away.
around you. You know what I mean? So, but don't disrespect them. All spirits deserve respect, and
Yeah.
negative and good spirit need to be in this world for this world to be the way it is.
The way I
Yeah.
see it, if you go in, if you go into an investigation wanting to get answers, why would you disrespect them? You're not going to get anything. You just wasted
No,
all your money on your gas going
Exactly.
over there. So you be respectful. You ask questions. You let them know you want to hear their side of the story, because there's always two sides of the story.
Yep.
Maybe someone did them so wrong that it caused them to harden, to be,
Yeah.
to
And it
be
can
like
happen.
that. So, you go in saying you want to hear, you're just there to document their side of the story, and if they're willing to talk to you, you're willing to listen and go
And that's
for
what I
it.
do. Like I said,
Yeah.
obviously I do say that like, I don't invite negative energies, but sometimes they'll still come over my
Yeah.
spirit box trying to talk to me now, and I'm not rude to them. I will never be rude to them. I'm like, look, I know that you're not a good energy, and if you're trying to talk to me, don't even try to do anything because I'm protected. I've got the
Yeah.
Lord of Divine. I've got everybody around me, and 9 times out of 10 they don't. It's when
Yeah.
people start going, you're a coward. You're this. You're that.
Yeah.
Really, they've meant
Yeah.
to perform what they've done to people, and
I
you're
know.
standing in that room calling them a coward and that. Like,
Yeah.
I've got respect for both sides, not because I like negative energy and I work with it.
If
Not
I
at all.
disappear, it's because
Okay?
my battery's at
They're both
2%. Okay.
and we need light and darkness to be able to survive and to be who we are. So respect both. That's just how I look at it.
Yeah.
And some dark energies do have their uses if you respect them in the right way. And I'm not saying to work with them, but I'm just saying, not all of them are.
They're there for a purpose.
They're
Yeah.
all, you know what I mean? So
Everything's got a purpose in this
If
life.
I feel a place like this place here that I know what's in it, I will not step in it whatsoever. I will
Yeah, I
just
would
stay
not.
out of it, because that to me needs somebody. Now, when I was doing my hedge prayer, I had to do it and make it so strong that one of my friends that's in South Africa, she is hopefully that wasn't a spirit,
Wind.
Drew.
It's the wind outside.
Yeah.
Wind.
So, if I feel that I can't handle it myself, I will ask for backup. Which
Yeah.
in her case, what I did is when I got ready, knowing all of the spirits that's there, knowing I'm going to be right on my property line, she timed it, and I let her know exactly when I was going to go out, and I was going to do the prayer and exactly what I was going to do. She knew on her end she was going to have her prayers going to also watch my back so that she could connect with me and let me know if something was fixing to happen so that I would be prepared. So even when I did that, I didn't do it myself. She backed me up, and she was in South Africa, yeah, and she had my back while I was going through and doing
It's
it all.
amazing when you can do something like that together, isn't it? It's amazing.
Yeah,
We did that with healing my mum.
Me and Sister Drew done a similar thing. Like Sister Drew's mum was very, very sick and on her deathbed at the time in the hospital, as far as we knew. Like, she was really sick. They didn't think she was going to come back round. And Sister Drew was obviously trying to do stuff for her mum and stuff like that. And she needed some extra help.
Daddy.
She come over.
Uncle Danny.
She's like, sister, my mum's not well in that, and it's not looking good. You know, some prayers with me and that. So we both made candles, we both done the prayers, we both done everything together, put all of our intentions in, everything. And the next day, like, Drew's messaging me saying that her mum's sitting up in the bed. The doctor's baffled and amazed because she was really sick. And it does work. And if you've got that confidence in each other and that belief in each other, you can make anything happen if you put that mind. And it just proves with you, sis, with your friend in Africa as well. You know,
it makes you feel the true power. By the way, my phone is going to cut off, guys. It's got a 30-second notice on it.
Yeah, it's almost 2 hours. We're running on 2 hours. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and end it here. Her phone's probably just disconnected. Okay, so we'll end it here. She's gone. Maybe she'll come back. I don't know. But we'll end it here. And Sherry, I would love to have you back on the channel again. Whenever you're ready. It's, good for me. So we will thank everybody that's come into that came into the chat. And even though Drew isn't on here, thank you, Drew, because you'll probably watch the ending here. So we'll end it here. Thank you again, Sherry. Enjoyed every minute of it.
Thank you for having me, and thank you to all of the chat as well. Thank you for listening, and love you all, and I'll see you all very soon. I'll just sit in the bottom if you drop me out or something.
Okay. Yeah, well.